Welcome back, Mando.
Oh, ho, ho. Greetings, Bucketheads. Mavar Tagar. Welcome to our 376th Mando Day episode of MandoVision. That's right, today's the day. MandoVision and Grogu in theaters. I am your host, Narguy Tom, and thank you so much for checking out our small independent Star Wars podcast. We're so glad you're here. Reach out to us on the socials at Mando_Vision on X and Insta, MandoVision at Blue Sky, and of course, email me at mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share this show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. All right, as we said, it's Mando Day. The first screenings of The Mandalorian and Grogu are available to us, the general public, so that we can consume Star Wars on the big screen once again. And I'm excited. I am genuinely excited for the movie. It's finally here. Star Wars back in cinemas. You can make the argument that, yeah, Star Wars belongs to be in theaters. I don't generally agree with this sort of philosophy of Disney sort of shifting things back to the theater, taking away from Disney Plus, seeming to minimize the idea of Star Wars as sort of long-form TV shows. But hey, I'm not in charge. I'll take my Star Wars however I can get it. And yes, that means me venturing out to the movie theaters, which some of you may know has not been my favorite thing over the last couple of years, because I generally find the people around me in the theaters to be the worst. So this could be an experience. I have to do my best to try and shut them out, put the blockers on, and just lock into the movie. My gosh darn, people around you, they don't make it easy these days. They're loud, they're talking, they're on their phones. I don't even know why they spent the money to go. But let's hope we have a good cinema-going experience today. I will be venturing to a theater that I've not been to before. And that could make things worse. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I'm getting into going to a new theater. But I tried to rope in some friends to go see this with me. They took too long to decide, and so my cinema choices became somewhat limited for the showtime I was trying to attend. And we are in this pickle. But it is what it is, and we are excited to move forward with it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the main bulk of the show, but we're mostly here because we've been rewatching the show. We've been rewatching The Mandalorian, and now we're to the point where we can sort of be wrapped on that kind of revisited rewatch as we blazed our way through the 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, the 1 season of the Book of Boba Fett. And again, I'm glad we did this. I think it was good for me to touch base with the origins of the show once again. And yeah, I'm ready to dive in. Let's go ahead and talk about Season 3 of The Mandalorian, a season that I think is a little unjustly maligned, and we'll talk about that. All right, so let's go down the other side. You know what that means. It's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
Get out of here. We'll hold them off. You're going to have to relocate the covert. This is the way. This is the way.
So here we are with Season 3, our Season 3 Revisited. And it's funny to go back to Season 3 because I do remember there being a lot of sort of belly aching from the fandom about Season 3 of The Mandalorian. A lot of episodes throughout the series have always been labeled as like side quests, blah, blah, blah. And I don't care for that kind of talk. Never have, never will. And rewatching these 8 episodes of Season 3, I found it to be really good, really compelling stuff. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Yes, I think the last 2 episodes of Season 2 of The Mandalorian are probably peak Mandalorian. But these are really good episodes. There's one clunker in the bunch, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But we open this season with Din Djarin on a quest. He has to redeem himself in the waters of in the mines of Mandalore, right? And it's a clear-cut mission statement for the season. It's time for the Mandos to go home. The Mandalorians are scattered throughout the galaxy. We've talked about it since this show began, and now it's time to go home. It's time for Din and Bo-Katan to unite these people and go back and take back their home planet. And we get to explore the idea of Mandalore being cursed, it being uninhabitable. We get into all these things and find out that a lot of it's Imperial propaganda. It's great stuff. Again, the first 2 episodes are so good with Din and Bo going to Mandalore, exploring Mandalore, going into the deep into the mines. The Bo seeing the mythosaur in the waters below the cavern. All these things are really well done and sort of a great rekindling of Bo-Katan's faith. When we see Bo at the beginning of season 3, she's like really lost faith in everything. Like, she's lost her fleet, she's lost her Mandalorians because she couldn't get the Darksaber back from Moff Gideon. Din has it, and as we've seen, Din can't wield it worth a darn. So we know he's not going to be the keeper of the Darksaber. And by the end, the Darksaber doesn't even matter. Let's be perfectly honest. We all know what happens with it in the season finale. And yeah, it's those first 2 episodes I think are really stand out, really well done, really well executed. And I think they get the season off to a good start. You get to episode 3, chapter 19, The Convert, which is basically bookends, right? Like more Mandalorian, more Din, and more Bo on the planet and going to bring their people together. The sort of starting of uniting their people. But sandwiched in between is a story of Dr. Pershing on Coruscant and the sort of state of the New Republic as it is, which is really depressing. I'm not going to lie. The whole Imperial Reformation program, the fact that the Republic treats these people by they are numbers and not names, we begin to see that the Republic is still the Empire in many, many regards. Yes, it's got a friendlier face. Yes, they operate under the guise of freedom and liberty and all these things. But again, you're referring to the Imperial people by numbers. You're not treating them like people, are you? And we're seeing that again, something that we've talked about when we do talk about the sequel trilogy. One of the things that we talk about a lot of is the notion that our heroes have failed, and the heroes of the original trilogy have failed, and that is we begin to really see that. We really begin to see why this New Republic is destined to fall to the First Order, or at least come darn near close to, because we're all we do in Star Wars apparently is replace failing institutions with other soon-to-fail institutions. Flawed institutions replacing flawed institutions. And I don't know what kind of message that is, honestly. I find it it really bums me out, I guess is the way I want to put it. When you're a kid and you watch episodes 4, 5, and 6, you think that, hey, it's a happy ending, freedom's been restored, justice to the galaxy, and we're going to take care of the people of the galaxy. Nah, not so much. Not so much. Our heroes did what they had to do, and now it's another just awful bureaucracy in place of a worse bureaucracy. And again, we can go down. I think we talked about it probably ad nauseum on our initial review of that episode. Revisiting it wasn't much fun. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh man, this really bums me out to no degree. So again, I find that chunk of it to be a little bit clunky, but it serves the purpose of establishing that the Imperial Remnant still has a lot of sway over things. They have spies in place. They have people in place that are actively working against the New Republic and destabilizing it in small yet powerful ways. This comes into play later on in the season when we find out that the Ensign Kane or Captain Commander Kane, whatever her name or whatever her rank was, is still acting on behalf of Moff Gideon in an effort to destabilize the New Republic, but also keep the Mandalorians from getting back together again, keeping them off balance, making sure that the pirates take over Navarro, a place where the Mandalorians could have hidden out, could have regrouped, taking these things away from the Mandalorians. So, again, you can make the statement about the galaxy as a whole through that episode, but by and large, we do need to stay focused on the Mandos and Moff Gideon's quest. Again, it's also sort of a small detail of the season. This whole idea that Moff Gideon never arrived at trial, it doesn't seem to upset people. Again, that's a little clunky to me. That's a little clunky. So I can understand your knock on that episode of the season. But I very much enjoyed Din going back to the covert with the foundling, and the episodes with the pirates. I think those are a lot of fun too. Going back to Navarro, find the Pirate King, Gorian Shard, who looks kind of like old old Greg's cousin. It's those are they're good. Again, the convert episode, I think would be better if it was like trimmed down a little bit. Like I think you could have gotten the point across if you had used that editing skill a little bit more sharply. But that's okay. That's all right. Again, that's a nit. I'm gonna pick that nit. But again, chapters 20 and 21, good stuff. We get to chapter 22, Guns for Hire. And yeah, it's not anyone's favorite. But again, they sort of do something in season 3 of The Mandalorian that they weren't doing in the Book of Boba Fett, which is instead of making these episodes completely dedicated to certain characters like they did in the Book of Boba Fett, how all of a sudden we had 2 episodes of The Mandalorian with no mention of Boba Fett. They sort of bookend things around episodes, right? So with Guns for Hire, yeah, okay, I understand the side quest aspect of it because you're going to this planet that we've never heard of, because Axwoves and all of Bo-Katan's forces have been hired as mercenaries, as planetary defense for this planet being run by Lizzo and Jack Black. And yeah, I it's not the greatest episode. I like droid-based episodes of a lot of things, and I like seeing different aspects of the galaxy of Star Wars. But I don't feel like Jack Black was the best fit. Maybe that wasn't the best character for Jack Black to portray in Star Wars. I don't know for sure. I don't want to sound like I'm attacking Jack Black. I am a Jack Black fan. But yeah, he's a little, I don't know, feels misplaced. And maybe that's just me picking a nit. But you get Christopher Lloyd in there as like a evil city commissioner person. That's interesting, I suppose. Again, fun to see him in the franchise. And again, I like droid-based things. The droid bar, I don't know, I found it comical. It's a lighter episode for sure. And maybe that's because so much of the tone of the season is pretty heavy. There's a lot of dark things, like a lot of dark elements and undertones throughout this season of the show. So you sort of lighten it up with this. And then you end with a great battle between Bo-Katan and Axwoves for control of the Mandalorians, because by this point in the season, Bo has been charged by the Armorer to unite the people, be the Mandalorian who walks between the tribes, between the Children of the Watch, the ones who won't take off their helmets, to the more mainline Mandalorians who do remove their helmets, and figure out a way to be the one to bring them together, because Bo has now spent time amongst the Children of the Watch, has proven herself to be a quote-unquote true Mandalorian to them. So now is the time to bring the other Mandalorians into the fold and retake Mandalore. This is a great arc for the season. I don't know why we attack it so much. Again, episode 22, Guns for Hire. I can't argue. It's sort of the clunker of the season. But again, that's just one episode. And it's a fairly short episode if memory serves. So don't worry too much about it. Because then you get chapter 23 and 24, The Spies and the Return. And they're great. They're really good. It's a lot of stuff on Mandalore. We find out that Moff Gideon's been hiding out on Mandalore. I forget which episode it was that I think it might be at the end of chapter 21, the pirate episode, when Carson Teva finds out that, yes, Moff Gideon is in fact missing. There's his shuttle right there. It's been attacked. And there's trace of Beskar. It's like, did the Mandalorians free Moff Gideon? That doesn't make any sense. So a lot of things are coming together in the show, and maybe it doesn't play out in the most linear of fashions. Again, I do think it's odd that Moff Gideon arriving to trial doesn't raise more eyebrows. But again, I think that's Favreau and Filoni showing that the New Republic is so mired in bureaucracy and so caught up in trying to undo what the Empire's doing. They're losing track of things left and right. We see that in the pirate episode when they're like, yeah, well, Navarro's not in the Republic worlds. We can't really help them. So that's when Carson goes and gets the Mandalorians to go and liberate Navarro from the pirates. So we're seeing that the New Republic is struggling. They are the drivers of the struggle bus. And this is the time for the Mandalorians to make their presence in the Outer Rim felt yet again. And again, this leads to, all things lead to Mandalore. All things lead to Moff Gideon. And all things lead to Imperial Super Commandos versus Mandalorians. So yeah, Moff Gideon's been a busy boy. He's moved up from Dark Troopers to Beskar-plated Imperial Super Commandos to fight off the Mandalorians. And he's using Mandalore as his base of operations for his evil cloning project as well, where he has clones of himself that he is trying to imbue with the Force. So now we know what Pershing was doing for him with Grogu. So we're answering questions. We're providing information that the fans have wanted to know since season 1. This is good stuff. This is solid stuff. And we get a big battle versus the Imperial Super Commandos, Moff Gideon, Bo, Din, Clan Vizsla. Everybody's involved. Great stakes. We find out the Mandalore can sustain life. There's these caverns that are green and verdant, and it's excellent. And again, a huge battle to take back Mandalore. We get an Imperial cruiser crashing into the surface to destroy his base, to seemingly incinerate Moff Gideon, presumably bringing it into his storyline. Though who knows? I mean, Din does destroy his clones, so that's good news. We get Grogu running around in like an IG-12 sort of battle suit. A lot of fun stuff in these last episodes. I did really sort of enjoy them turning IG-12 into sort of a mech for baby Grogu to roam around in and to do things and to have him get engaged in more of the action. Remember, he moves up from foundling to apprentice in this season. So he does more things. We get to see him kind of engage more, become more of a Mandalorian. He keeps adding to his suit of armor. And by the end, we get the return of IG-11 to culminate in our season. There's an old IG unit head at a Delphi base that Mando wants for doing work for the Republic. So they're able to bring back IG-11, and he's now the Marshal of Navarro. So he's going to keep Navarro safe because Cara Dune can never come back, apparently. There's a lot of stuff. Season 3 has a lot of things going on, a lot of things happening, and I think it's really, really solid. I think it's really enjoyable, really fun. I don't know why we're mad at this season. Yeah, okay, I get it. One clunker in the bunch, and then the episode of the Convert that's where we kind of grind to a halt to spend time on Coruscant and see the bureaucracy that Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo help install to take over for the Empire. Yeah, that's a bummer. That bums us all out. But these are the choices that have been made, and Filoni's just leaning into it. Filoni and Favreau just leaning into it because, I guess you got to respect the sequel trilogy? ? So yeah, I dig this season. I think it's really good. It's 8.5 buckets. It really is. Like I said, season 2 is definitely peak Mandalorian. The last 2 episodes of season 2 in particular, maybe the last 3 episodes of season 2 in particular are peak Mandalorian. But season 3 is good. It is good stuff. Again, you're retaking Mandalore. You're exploring Mandalore again. You're bringing the people back together. Now, obviously, there's questions. What's next for the Mandalorians? Why aren't they more focused in the sequel trilogy? Are they taking some kind of pact of neutrality against the First Order? We don't know. But another element of this season is the Imperial Remnant, right? These are threads that I think Ahsoka Season 2 is going to pick up. There's Imperial warlords, but they're sort of working together. They're trying to, again, bring back the Empire. And I think we're going to get that explored, maybe not in The Mandalorian and Grogu, but at the very least in Season 2 of Ahsoka, because they do talk about the return of Thrawn. Admiral Paleon is there. So we'll see how those threads kind of play out. But yes, stop attacking Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Rewatch it. It's a good time. You're going to have fun. Whew. All right. So yeah. All right. Check it out. We did it. Season 3 of The Mandalorian, not as bad as you may think it is, or as you may remember. And that leads us to The Mandalorian and Grogu. The reviews have been coming out. I've been doing my best to stay away from it, but sometimes it's hard to avoid reading just like the headlines of some of these reviews. And of the websites that I frequent, the headlines have not been kind. So, again, I go in. As I have said since these trailers came out, I remain cautiously optimistic and hopeful for this film. The trailers didn't show us much of anything to get super excited about. It feels like we're just going to go on an adventure with Mando and Grogu, and that could be fine. We'll see. We'll see. The plan for tonight, again, I will see the movie. I will come back. I will try to do a brief, spoiler-free take on the movie, sort of like my first reactions to the movie. Next week, we'll sit down and we'll get into the nuts and bolts of it all and get into some spoiler territory. But this way, it gets everybody a chance to go see the movie over the weekend, and then we can have a discussion together about what worked for us, what didn't work, what we liked, what we didn't like, and what the future might hold for Mando and Grogu and Star Wars in the theaters. So, yes, I'll be back later today, unless something tragic happens, to fill you in on the movie in a spoiler-free fashion and on my theater-going experience. So, I almost wonder which will be more entertaining, my theater-going experience or the film itself. We will have to wait and see, friends. All right, we're going to wrap it up. If you've had a chance to rewatch The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett in leading up to this movie coming out, hit me up on the socials and let me know what you thought. Mando_Vision on X and Insta, MandoVision at Blue Sky. You can email me if you have a lot to say at MandoVisionTom@gmail.com. Buckethead Nation, you continue to be the best supporters on the internet. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, from the top of my bucket. Thanks for being there and supporting the show as always. I am Narguy Tom. This is the MandoVision podcast. Go out there, be great, kind, supportive, respectful, tolerant, patient, understanding Star Wars fans. I have to do all those things today in the movie theater. I guarantee it. I'm going to have to be kind, tolerant, patient, understanding, and respectful to people that are probably annoying the crap out of me. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised and I'll come back with glowing things to say about the AMC at Plaza Bonita. All right, Bucketheads, I'll talk to you all very soon. Let's go, Mando, Grogu. Let's do this. Let's have a good time. Let's rock it. All right. In the meantime, remember this podcast. It only ends one way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
I would like to see the baby.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap!